Yo guys, this is Wrestle Kicks. My name is Jared and this is your AEW Rampage Grand Slam review. Yo guys, my name's Jared and AEW Rampage. Well, it wasn't as good as Dynamite, was it? It was nowhere near as good as Dynamite, but it was still a good show. AEW Dynamite Rampage was AEW Dynamite Rampage. AEW Dynamite Grand Slam was just an incredible show. This Rampage was just a good show. I've seen a few people say that it didn't need to be 2 hours. It could have just done with an hour, and I completely agree. I didn't see the need to be 2 hours. There was some stuff on the show that just didn't need to be on the show, and I'm not even going to cover some of the bits. Well, I'm going to cover it, but very briefly, because some stuff just didn't need to be on the show. You probably already know what I mean. But it was a good show. It was a very good show. The first, I want to say, hour was way better than the last hour. The last hour was so unnecessary. The show started off really, really good with Punk versus Hobbs. That really surprised me because I thought it was a risk. I thought it was a risk to have Punk versus Hobbs so early. Punk, not that Hobbs is so green or anything like that, but I just think that Hobbs, I don't know, I just didn't picture it. When the whole CM Punk thing happened, I just didn't picture this match. I thought it was a risk, and they completely, Punk didn't surprise me at all because he is literally so good at what he does. He's one of the best pro wrestlers in the world. It's just that I thought Hobbs was gonna. I don't know what I thought. I think I thought Hobbs was too green, and I thought Hobbs, it wouldn't come off well, but it absolutely did. I was proven wrong. Hobbs is, if he was, I was high on Hobbs, but not yet. I think he's going to be a lot better than we all thought, a lot quicker. It's evident in his match against Punk. I mean, obviously Punk ran the match. Of course, he probably called all the spots and everything like that. But or they just bounced off each other. I'm not too sure because I know that Punk doesn't like calling spots in matches. But it looked like a Punk kind of match. It was a lot different to the Punk Darby match because Punk was the smaller guy this time. Obviously against Darby he was the bigger guy, so they worked that style of match where with the high flyer and the technical wrestler. But now the roles are reversed and it's Powerhouse Hobbs versus technical wrestler CM Punk, and it worked really well. CM Punk brought a lot of his older moveset back, so you saw the kicks, the roundhouse kicks. We got the elbow in the match, which scored a massive pop. Obviously Punk did it so slowly. He kind of gave the crowd the cue to kind of give him a pop and everything, and seeing the old CM Punk putting his two fingers up on the top rope was very nice to see. Being a Punk mark and everything is just, it was lovely. It was lovely. But anyway, he hits the elbow, which it's not the nicest elbow in the world, but I never thought it was anyway. I think there's a lot better elbows out there than Punk's. It's just the way the Punk does it is, I don't know, it's so different to everyone else because it's just like it looks like he actually drills them down with the elbow. Do you know what I mean? He comes elbow first, not like a Kairi Sane or anything like that, but do you know what I mean? So he's not the best elbow in the world, but you can tell when Punk's doing it. So so that was nice to see. We got the elbow. Hobbs obviously worked as the Powerhouse. Obviously, Powerhouse Hobbs. He he hit some big moves. He hit the old Oklahoma Slam. There was actually a really scary spot, and I wasn't sure because you never know until like Punk went for the cover and everything like that. But until after the spot had finished, I thought it was a lot worse than what it was. So basically, Hobbs and Punk. So Punk was on the top rope, and obviously Hobbs was sat on the second rope, and they were teasing the Hurricane Rana, so Avalanche Hurricane Rana spot from the top rope, and then Hobbs catches Punk. Punk goes all the way down, and then Punk powers himself back up, and then goes for it, and he goes for the Hurricane Rana, so he reverses the reversal. He hits the Hurricane Rana, and Hobbs I don't know what happened. He doesn't rotate, or maybe he didn't think Punk was going to do it at that point. I'm not too sure what had happened. Some communication malfunction. And then Hobbs didn't go over, and he just landed straight on his head. He landed straight on his dome. And I thought he was like dazed. He probably was. Like he was. There was like about 20 seconds where I was like, Hobbs is not okay. But he turned out he was fine. He then like hit like some massive spine buster, and everyone says, I've seen on Twitter, everyone says that Hobbs has the best spine buster in the business, and he does. He does have the best spine buster in business. It reminds me so much of old Arn Anderson's spine buster, so I think that should be his. Well, I don't know if it should be his finish, because I see like, obviously when Hobbs wrestles on Dark, he does the spine buster and that's his finish. But obviously a spine buster, they didn't do. Obviously he got a near fall with Punk. I don't know if that was really a kicking out of a finisher moment there for Hobbs. So I don't know if that's going to be his finish or his signature move moving forward. But either way, he does it beautifully. And yeah, no, moving forward, I think that spine buster is going to be set in stone as one of Hobbs's, one of his gimmicks, you know. But yeah, so the match goes on. So the finish was really clean. I think it was Punk, Hook. So yeah, Hook. Well, actually, I'll talk about this first. So in the match, Hook comes on to, him and Punk have a face off, and then Punk flips him the bird. But literally, Hook is so over on Twitter. I was literally on Twitter, and everyone loves Hook. Send me Hook is like literally everywhere you look to go online, like send me Hook, and it is so funny. I think Hook versus Punk is going to be a big match. I think it is actually going to be a big match. I think Hook is going to surprise a lot of people. I don't know how young Hook actually is. I need to actually research how old Hook is, but I think his first match is going to be with CM Punk, and I think Hook is going to. So I don't know. He's either going to have his match against Punk and then like start working Dark and things like that and build himself up, or he's going to skip all of that, and AEW knows something about Hook that we all don't, and he might be really, really good. I've got a funny feeling that Hook is way better than what we're seeing. But anyway, Send Me Hook is going crazy on Twitter. Punk teases that. He puts his finger up at Hook, and then that plays into later into the match where Hook jumps onto the side, tries to distract Punk, but Punk, being a veteran, knows that Hobbs is going to come up behind him, moves out of the way, knocks Hook flying, and then go to sleep. Punk gets him up in the GTS, hits the GTS, and that is it. 1, 2, 3. Really good match. Best match on the card, if you're asking me. But that's just because I like that kind of pro wrestling style match where it's an actual match, It's a competitive, full-on match, and it's not just they start 100 miles per hour doing all this kind of stuff. That match should be saved for special occasions, or not special occasions, but for specific people. Do you know what I mean? So the 6-man tags, that's absolutely fine. No, there's a time and a place for a slow 6-man tag, and most of 6-man tags that AEW run are going to be 100 miles per hour. But yeah, no, I thought that it was a really good start to the show. Punk is over as hell. I think he clearly moves on to Hook or Ricky Starks after this. I thought there was going to be an attack. I know that Starks is injured, but I thought there was going to be something. I thought something was going to happen after the match, but they just left it. Punk won, which was fine. They left it how it was, and there was not too much going into it. So I guess what will happen is Punk will come out on Wednesday and announce his new match, because that's what he seems to be doing. He's just coming down and announcing his matches. He hasn't actually been involved in a serious story. I mean, I guess Taz interrupted him, but I don't know where this is going to lead. Hopefully it leads to Punk Starks, because that will be the match to put Starks on the next level. I think he's ready, and that's where this is all heading. But I've got a funny feeling as well. Punk versus Hook may steal that whole feud. Punk versus Hook Punk versus Hook might be the match where that everyone's more excited for. But we'll have to see. The Super Kliq versus Christian Cage and the Lucha Express. This match was great. It was a great 6-man tag. AEW always have great 6-man tags, and it's only a matter of time before we get those 6-man tag titles, which I'm a fan of. I liked them in New Japan. I like them in Ring of Honor. And I think, especially with how many guys AEW has to like kind of, they need something for everyone to do. I think that's perfect. You've got the Gun Club. You've got, I don't know why I started with the Gun Club, like they're the most over tag team or popular tag team, but you know what I mean? It's probably because they're fresh. They've just turned heel. They're fresh in my mind. Okay, I'm not a big fan of the Gun Club. don't assume that. But yeah, I have started with the Gun Club. You've got the Super Kliq. You've got Chistian and the Jungle Express. You've got all these, multiple tag teams. You've got the Pinnacle. They could come up with Spears and FTR. You've got Inner Circle, who could do one with Guevara and LAX, or Proud and Powerful. I really wish they were still called LAX. But anyway, yeah, you've got all these trios matches, Lucha, Death Triangle, and you've got all these trios matches. It's only a matter of time before we get the belts. I don't know how they're going to do it. Potentially a tournament. I always like a tournament. It makes perfect sense for the first ever champions. So I think there will be a tournament. I think the Super Kliq are most likely going to be the first ever 6-man tag champs, because just how hot they are at the moment. Adam Cole seems to be the hottest thing in AEW right now, so I think that only makes sense. Though, before I get started on this match, I do want to give my opinion on Adam Cole and the whole Super Kliq and Elite situation. So I really think that at some point Adam Cole turns on Kenny, and I want to think it would be sooner than later, because I don't know, it just seems like, I think there are potential scenarios. Obviously, if Kevin Owens comes across, that may play into it as well. But in my head, how I would do it and how it might potentially go, I don't know if my prediction is going to be correct, but I would have Cole and everyone eventually turn on Kenny. Everyone. So it is the Super Kliq or the Mount Rushmore if Kevin Owens does get involved in that, if he does come over to AEW and he doesn't sign a new contract with the WWE. I think they could do a Mount Rushmore angle where they turn on Kenny, but I ultimately think that they're all going to turn on Kenny, and Kenny's going to be left with no one, just like Adam Page was in the whole situation. And I think the Adam Page-Kenny thing is going to come full circle, and eventually we may get Hangman Page and Kenny feuding against Mount Rushmore in some kind of match. But then I think that would be at the end of it. I think we will get Kenny versus Hangman before that anyway, whilst Kenny's still amongst the Elite. But I think at some point I would have the either Super Kliq or Mount Rushmore turn on Kenny, and then it comes full circle. He's now alone. He now is the same situation as Hangman. Thinks he's a failure, blah, blah, blah. He's lost all those belts that he had, because I imagine at that point Cole would have screwed him or something like that. But yeah, no, that's the way I'm thinking at the moment. I don't know if that's, they seem to have this long-term booking all figured out. And obviously it changes on a whim sometimes when things change, but who knows what could happen. I'm just very excited about all of it. I think Adam Cole is going to be the best, not the best signing, because obviously you've got Punk and Bryan, but he's going to be the best, or the most, I don't know, because he was the, when you get Punk and Bryan coming in, Adam Cole's kind of, in my opinion, you got Punk, you got, as importance to the company, you've got Punk, Bryan, then Cole. But I think over time, because obviously Adam Cole's 30, 28, probably something around that, Adam Cole is going to end up being the better signing overall long term for AEW, and I think he's going to be the next big star for them. Adam Cole he could be the next big star anywhere. That's the kind, anywhere in any country. He is a big loss for WWE. They just don't realize it yet, because they hate pro wrestling. They hate it. They have to hate it, because they were going to change the guy's name and make him the manager of Keith Lee. No offense to Keith Lee. Keith Lee's great, but it's Adam Cole. It's actually the most disrespectful idea that I've ever heard. And I know you have to be respectful. Adam Cole would have had been respectful, I imagine, when he had that meeting. But when he was told that, what do you think he felt? What do you think he felt when he was told the idea? If they are true, you know, and it seems like, you know, it just gets more believable every day because you see more stories about it. If they told Adam Cole to his face that we want you to be Keith Lee's manager and we want to change your name and get rid of the whole Bay gimmick, I just don't know what he must have thought in that moment. And I know he says there's no hard feelings, you know, all that kind of stuff. There's no hard feelings with Shawn Michaels and Triple H. That's where there's no hard feelings. I don't think Adam Cole gives a shit about anyone above them. I just don't think he did. He clearly didn't because he's left. But, you know, he clearly respects Triple H and Shawn Michaels and a lot more than Vince apparently, because he obviously took them away from NXT. But yeah, I think Adam Cole is definitely the future. I think it's a given that he is going to be leading this company with the likes of Hangman, MJF, Kenny, and he is a really good signing. I think people forget because of how much work he's done already. I think people forget how old he is, and he's literally got another 10, 15 years where he can give us top shit, and it's going to be the best. We're all going to love it. WWE going to regret it, and yeah, Adam Cole, baby, he is the future. He is the future. So yeah, this match was pretty cool. We get your fast-paced 6-man tag. There was a lot of cool spots. I wouldn't even know what to call these moves because there was so much going on. There was really good. My favourite spot from the whole match, though, has to be, I think Adam Cole had a camel clutch. I can't remember who it was on. It might have been Jungle Boy. And then... Or was it Lucha? No, it wouldn't have been Luchasaurus. It might have been... It was either Christian or Jungle Boy. And basically, it had been a camel clutch. And then the Young Bucks, either side, start running the ropes. And they keep running the ropes, and you're waiting for their what they usually do is they do the ropes, they do a handspring into a double drop kick, and then that's the spot. That's the spot from Ring of Honor when they used to do it in those days, and that's what everyone was expecting. But when they're with Adam Cole and the Super Kliq, they're even more heelish, and they. I've got such a squeaky chair, man. I really need a new chair. Sorry if you can hear like my chair just squeaking. It sounds like. You know what it sounds like, but just try to ignore my chair. Anyway. So they run the ropes. They keep running the ropes because it's the Super Kliq. And then they slow down and stop. And instead of doing the super kick or the drop kick, they just give the double kiss on the cheeks to Adam Cole, which is such a good shot. It's such a good heel shot. And then they do the handspring, and then they do the drop kick, and it was the best. It's such a good spot, and it's one of my favorites. And yeah, that was perfect in this match. Again, yeah, obviously the 6-man titles are coming, and then I just think that obviously the Young Bucks and Adam Cole, the Super Kliq, they get the win here. And then we're building towards I don't think it's going to be a long-term feud, but they're building towards Adam Cole versus Jungle Boy. And I'm sorry, that match is going to be ridiculous. Take my money now. You don't even have to hype. That's not even like a match you have to hype up too much. You could have it on a pay-per-view, absolutely. If you want to get Adam Cole on a pay-per-view, you could absolutely have him go against a Jungle Boy and it to be one of the best matches on the card, regardless of who else is on the card. If you've got Daniel Bryan and Kenny Omega, obviously that match is unique in its own way, but Adam Cole and Jungle Boy could definitely steal the show on any card. That's how good Adam Cole is, for sure, and that's how much potential Jungle Boy has as well. The issue with Jungle Boy is that he needs to get better on the mic, and I know he says that's like he doesn't like doing it. I've heard him say, I've seen him in interviews or something say, promos, I don't like promos. You need to. You need to. I mean, that's going to be the thing that takes you through your career, and that's going to be what resonates with the audience at home, especially the audience at home. You can kind of get away with like being over with your in-ring work to the live audience. And for a little bit, I think he has gotten away with that for a little bit. But you need to develop some kind of personality, man. Because even though I was watching a Renee Paquette, I can't remember, I've mispronounced the name, but Renee Paquette was doing a her interview show with him. He's just boring. And no, don't get me wrong. He is a terrific professional wrestler. He just needs to develop some kind of personality. He sounds monotone when he speaks, and when he speaks, honestly, I just don't care. And it's weird because I'm a big Jungle Boy fan in ring, and I like the whole Jurassic Express gimmick, and I think they're a great tag team. I want to see them win the tag team title someday. I just think for specifically Jungle Boy, he just needs to get way better on the mic, way better, because at some point, everyone appreciates in-ring work, of course, but at some point it's going to get old, and you're going to need something else there to carry through, and yeah, you need to work on those promos, son. But yeah, the Super Kliq get the win in this one. No surprise, really, there. Adam Cole got the pinfall on Luchasaurus with a weird-looking Canadian Destroyer, Panama Sunrise. It was only because I think how big Luchasaurus is, it just looked weird. And I think, I don't know. I know this is being picky. I probably wouldn't have done the Panama Sunrise on Luchasaurus because it just didn't really look right with a bigger guy. It doesn't make sense how you would be able to do that with a Canadian Destroyer. I know that's nitpicking, but I think he could have finished him off with a knee. The super kick, the whatever, the golden V trigger or whatever it's called that the Young Bucks do, with the double knee. And then I think the knee to the back of the head, 1, 2, 3 would have been fine. I don't think we needed to see a Panama Sunrise on Luchasaurus because it just looked weird. It just looks unnatural, and it shouldn't be happening. But yeah, no. So after that, we get this segment, which I think this segment, the Inner Circle versus American Top Team. I think, Chris Jericho and Jake Hager versus Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. I think it's either going to go, you're either going to like this or you're not. There's no in between, I don't think, on this. You're either going to really like it or you're really not going to like it. I happen to be a massive UFC fan, so I know all these guys, especially, obviously, everyone. I think everyone should know Masvidal at this point. I liked it. I thought it was good because I'm a UFC fan, so I might be biased, but I really thought this was cool. I think the attention isn't going on, so I guess this is obviously to build up Scorpio Sky versus it's not a match. Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. This is to build them up and make them more credible. I just don't. I think they're being overshadowed by the whole UFC and American Top Team thing, and I think people are more concentrating on them than they are Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, which was the whole point of this. I don't understand that. They're just being overshadowed. Like Masvidal hitting the knee was better than anything that Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page has done up to this point. So I really don't get it. I've heard things and I've read things that a lot of the guys are actually going to transfer over to wrestling, but I just don't get. Well, I don't think it's intentional, but basically, Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page are not getting the rub that they need from this, and the rub is going to American Top Team and the UFC guys. And now the Masvidal, it looks like he's the leader. I didn't get that. So they're the things that I don't understand about this. Masvidal looks like the leader of this group, which clearly isn't supposed to be the case because it's supposed to be Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky who come out on top and come out looking like $1 million, but apparently, it's a weird one. But I still enjoy it because I like all the UFC guys. Though obviously I know it could be better. I know it could be better. One thing I had wrong with this match, which we'll get more into later, is that after the match, obviously we all know what happened with the knee and the beatdown of Chris Jericho and Jake Hager. And I've seen a few people on Twitter saying this. And when I say a few, I mean a lot. Why? The Inner Circle is definitely still together, right? They're definitely still together. So why didn't they come and make the save? I was scratching my head with that one because your leader and the bodyguard of the leader are getting their asses kicked. And Sammy Guevara still walks around in his Inner Circle, sleeveless jacket, his leather jacket. Proud and Powerful, pretty sure they all came to celebrate Jericho's win over MJF. So they're definitely still together. Why did they not come make the save? Have they made like some kind of agreement where they're just going to do their own thing? Because that would have been nice to see on TV at least. If they have met, just give us, AEW are usually really good at kind of making things make sense, but a lot of the time they do miss things, and I think this Inner Circle whatnot is, they should have just explained that they're doing their own thing. Clearly they are, but explain it on TV. Explain it. It would have took like 30 seconds to say, let's do our own thing. We all got things to concentrate on, blah, 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 blah. But, what can we do? They're giving us so much, and sometimes things probably just miss, and that's fine. But it's going to, at some point, it's going to start making less and less sense. Sammy Guevara, again, got his ass kicked. Maybe that's different because that was his feud with Miro, which we'll come to in a sec. But that's different because it was his feud. There's 1-on-1 really. It was actually 2-on-1. He beat up both of them. So, but this is like there was like 12 guys and a girl who'd beat the crap out of them. And Paige Van, I can't remember her name now. Paige Van Zlee or something like that. One of the female UFC, but the bare knuckle girl. She started giving Jericho shots to the stomach, which looked bad. I didn't like that. I didn't like the way it looked. It looked weak. I don't know. Just you got to add some. The best thing about the whole thing was the knee, and the rest kind of was weird, but I liked it. Again, I'm biased because I am a fan of the UFC, and I just thought it was cool to see all those guys there. But I do understand that it's not the best thing in the world, and you could either love it or you're gonna like it like me because of the UFC guys or the old UFC guys, or you're gonna hate it, which I've seen a lot of people not react well to it. I've seen a lot of people react well to it, so it's 50-50 on that one. But so the match starts. Again, nothing too excited happened in the match. To be honest, we don't really need to go through the match apart from the fact that Scorpio Sky rolled up Jake Hager for the win, and most of anything important about this match all happened afterwards. Like I said, American Top Team. Lambert is awesome. He's great on the mic. He wasn't on the mic this time, but he is great on the mic. The beatdown was good, but at the same time, a lot of things weren't making sense, especially when it came across on TV. Probably even more so live. But yeah, then they did the beatdown. Masvidal got in the ring. He got a big pop. To be fair, So I guess a lot of the AEW fans know him. He is pretty much a megastar at this point in the combat world. And then he's just lurking in the corner, and I was really interested to see what he was going to do, obviously. And then they hold Jericho after the beatdown. And then he hits him with, I guess the camera angle made this look good. So the camera angle made the knee look really good, I thought. I thought the knee looked devastating. I thought the knee looked really good. Obviously, it's a play on his knee that he did with Ben Askren, where he knocked him out in UFC, of course, and the meme and everything like that. So that's what it was. I think AEW actually posted onto their Twitter saying Chris Jericho's just been Askrened. So I don't know if that's what they're going to call it, and that's what the running joke's going to be. You've been Askrened. And then I saw Askren post as well saying pay me my royalties, which was hilarious because Ben Askren is a really funny dude. But yeah, this segment, again, I liked it, but I can understand the guys that didn't like it, or there's probably loads of fans that didn't know who any of these guys are and they're just confused to what's going on. And again, I don't think this is the best thing to be getting over Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. It seems to be getting over the American Top Team a lot more, and Lambert a lot more. So maybe AEW needs to look into that, but no, that's how it is. Anna Jay versus Penelope Ford was next. And I've got to say, why this match was on Rampage, and this plays into my point, a lot of these matches didn't need to be on this show. There was a 8-man tag as well. So it was Butcher and Blade and Private Party versus Lucha Bros and Proud and Powerful. And again, I love the Proud and Powerful Lucha Bros, and I like Butcher a lot as well, and Blade. I think Butcher and Blade are really good. Private Party have. Oh, Private Party. Well, I was actually really interested in them when in like the first 6 months of AEW, and then I think that being with Matt Hardy is just absolutely killed off all hype that they had. They need to start again from the bottom after this whole thing with Matt Hardy's done, because that's where it's left them. They've actually gone down. They were in a higher position over a year ago, and now they're just kind of some kind of joke. I have an angry bias against any person that doesn't wear proper ring gear. In my opinion, you should wear wrestling gear, and because they wear street clothes, it pisses me off. I think you can wear trainers, or you can have a wrestling gear that's like a mixture between wrestling gear and street clothes. Like, for example, if you take Proud and Powerful, they wear jeans, but they wear knee pads, they wear their boots. They suit the look as well, and it's like, I don't know. It looks. I'll give that a pass. It's like Roman Reigns when he used to wear his, full-on SWAT gear. I just hated it, and that's probably played into the reason why I didn't like him back then. I just think Private Party was so much better when they wore their gear, when they had, an identity. Now they're just, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense why they. I know they probably didn't have anything for them, and this is just a nice little thing for them to do until they do break up. It's been ages now. It's been so long, and Private Party, I'm afraid, they have lost all momentum that they ever had, and it's an uphill battle for them. But anyway, this match didn't need to happen again. It was just there. Didn't need to happen on the show. Didn't need a 2-hour show. I think you probably could have gone with the Punk match. You could have gone with the 6-man tag, and then you could have had the main event. And even so, the main event, we'll get to that. But yeah, so you got Anna Jay versus Penelope Ford. Penelope Ford wins. Meh. That is what I think about when I think of this. Meh. Nothing really to see. Literally, this match could have been on Dark or Elevation. Literally, what? It's just a waste. It was just a waste of everyone's time. I'm here in the UK, so I stay up for these things. On Friday, it's not so bad because I stay up late anyway, and obviously the next day's a weekend. So I stay up late on Friday to watch Rampage, and it's so much, like, when it was 2 hours, honestly, the last hour of this show, especially when you get matches like Anna Jay versus Penelope Ford, no offense to either one, they're not ready for TV matches. When you compare it to the women that you've got, like Statlander and Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa and Ruby Soho now and Shida and all those kind of people who are top level, these two just fall far behind them, and it shows when they're on TV having any time at all. So yeah, I would keep this onto Dark and Innovation, and I would replace. This is another thing. I said this in my last video, and I said I didn't have a problem with it. But when you see Thunder Rosa on Dark and Elevation, and then you see Anna Jay and Penelope Ford getting this time against each other, you kind of think in your head, huh? Why is Thunder Rosa not in this spot? And why are Anna Jay and Penelope Ford in this spot? I mean, no one wants to see them. But I digress anyway, as I always do. So yeah, this match happens, and then Matt's family, Money Family, meh. They come out. I was struggling to stay awake, and then a Dark Order come out to back up Anna, and then Ty Conti also came out. And at this point, I don't even know if this happened. I could have been dreaming, because this was sending me to sleep. And again, I do have to stay up very late in the UK to watch this anyway. So when it's, when you go from Punk and you're like fully awake, hyped, and then in the middle of the show or towards the end of the show, you've got this going on. You can understand why I nearly fall asleep. Boring is the only word that comes to mind, or meh, which isn't really a word. But so there was nothing to see here. There more kind of conflict within the Dark Order, which I think MJF said it best. Mid mid. This was shit. The whole thing is shit. I think unless Bray Wyatt comes in, this whole Dark Order thing may be on its way out. Quite frankly, unless they get Bray Wyatt, who cares about the Dark Order? Which is a shame, because Dark Order was literally my, when before Brody passed, rest in peace, he and the Dark Order were one of the biggest things on Dynamite on a weekly basis. People would be so hyped for that. And now, obviously, he's passed away. And I know that the Dark Order don't want a new leader. I've seen them say they don't want a new leader. Brody can't replace. Of course he can. Of course he can't be replaced. Brody is one of a kind. Though, I think if Bray Wyatt comes in and takes over the Dark Order, and the ones that are clearly being face disappear, so you could have John Silver, Alex Reynolds, Colt Cabana, whoever the face, the ones that are playing the face in this argument, this civil war that's going on in the Dark Order, the ones that are playing the faces, I think they can just not be in the Dark Order anymore. I don't know, that would be a big move, because I know that they're really popular on Being the Elite and Sammy Guevara vlog and everything like that, but you get rid of them, and then you keep Grayson and Uno together, and who knows, they could recruit some more people, and then you have Bray Wyatt come in and take leadership of that, then that is something that I am all for. I think Bray Wyatt is so creative that he's definitely going to make it work. Grayson and Uno are so good. Yeah, they're underrated tag team. I think probably the most underrated tag team in AEW, next to FTR. So, FTR criminally underrated, and I think, again, I'm still annoyed that they didn't beat Sting and Darby and then beat the crap out of Sting after the match and put him off of TV. That was everything, but we won't go down that rabbit hole, because I could spend hours on that. But yeah, so we got all this kind of rubbish in the middle of the show. It was shit, honestly, guys. It was shit. And I don't really, when I say shit, I mean shit. It was like, it just didn't need to be on the show. It's not, it's not as bad. It's not as bad as WWE, because that will give you a coma, not just a little bit sleepy. That will put you in a full-on coma, and you'll wake up a week later and you won't know what's happened. So what happened? I don't know. I was watching Raw, and then I've woken up a week later. Like 28 days, that's when you watch Raw. If you've seen the film 28 days later, that's the experience that Raw gives you. Anyway, so it wasn't that bad, but it was shit compared to what AEW does give you. It was just useless. It was no need for it. And the reason I didn't like any of this so much as well is because it brings us to the main event, which was such a good main event on paper. It was Mox and John Moxley and Eddie Kingston, who was making his big hometown. This has been built for ages, that he was coming home to New York. So you get them two versus Suzuki-gun, Suzuki and Lance Archer. Lance Archer, by the way, is so much better with Suzuki right now than he is with Jake the Snake, and that's no bash on Jake the Snake, because he's Jake the Snake Roberts and I love him. He's so good, but it kind of fizzled out with Lance Archer. I think Lance Archer was ready to step out on his own. He didn't really need Jake there anymore. I think that's probably why AEW are not using him right now. Whether there's other reasons for that as well, I don't know. But he works really well. I think he comes across really, really well with Suzuki. And this match on paper was supposed to be the best thing ever. And it turned out that it was just a big rush to get it all in before the end of the show, which keeps happening. And I feel so bad for Mox, because these moments are such good spots and they're such good moments, and it seems like if you go on last, I don't know if there's an AEW, I think it probably is an AEW timing and pacing thing, but the main event segment needs more than 15 minutes, in my opinion. That's just in any show. I think the main event segment needs at least 20 minutes. Again, matches like Anna Jay versus Penelope Ford do not need to be on this show. Got rid of that match. This match has more time. And it's not as rushed, and it probably give you the best match of the show. It probably would have been better than Punks and Hobbs if they had the time and it wasn't just a big rush. Anyway, so the match starts out hot. They clearly, when the people come out of the ring and they interrupt the entrance, they're rushing. So basically that happens. Firstly you've got Lance Archer who comes out, and then Suzuki who follows, and he gets his Kaze Nirene, and it's loud as hell. It come off loud as hell at home on TV, which I love. I love that spot. I love Japanese wrestling in general, so it's really good for me to see that stuff on AEW. And, they obviously used the story and why this match is even a thing, because they played that into the story. And then you've got Wild Thing hits, you've got Mox and Eddie who come out, and basically they get interrupted. Eddie's hot, by the way. Eddie's hot. In the interview before this match, Mark Henry does his interviews, like main event, Saturday night main event, which is, I love it. He needs to keep doing that. I think Ricky Stark should stay on commentary for this period, and Mark Henry should just be the backstage interviewer, because he's really good at it. His voice comes across well. It comes across old school. It's probably that kind of Texas accent that he's got, but it comes across really old school. Eddie made this unique by acting the way he acted, and he kind of took over the whole interview, being aggressive, and obviously he wanted to go out there and fight. He was hyped to be in New York. He said this was like a really different interview to the ones that we've seen previously, which is really good because Eddie's made it so your personality comes across, and hopefully people follow suit and treat these interviews like a time to get themselves over just quickly before the match. And then Mark Henry hits us with, it's time for the main event. And then we go straight into it. And like I said, they interrupt the entrance of Mox and Eddie. The match starts, it's hot. They're doing all this kind of spots outside the ring with kendo sticks. I think Lance Archer had like akimbo kendo sticks on him. I think he actually had 4. And then you've got Suzuki as well. And there's one spot, so they're beating the crap out of each other pretty much. And then there's one spot, and it's my favourite spot of the whole show. I watched it 5 times. I was watching it live, and I ended up being behind a 30 seconds because I went back and watched this about 5 times. So basically, him and Eddie were in the ring, and Eddie's chops him, and it's a really hard chops as well. And he just basically, Suzuki just plays it off, pauses, looks right into the hard cam, and just starts like laughing like an old sick Japanese grandpa. And I swear to God, it was the best thing on this whole show. It was so funny. It was so good. Suzuki comes across really, really well with his facial expressions alone. He doesn't speak a word of English yet. I don't think he does anyway. He might do, but I don't think he does. And his facials are the best, and he comes across perfectly without even saying a word. So Suzuki is as good as we know he is. It's a shame that he hasn't really been able to show it in AEW yet. I really think the best thing that he's done so far is the initial debut when he came in to face off against Moxley. But because a lot of this match he was just standing around, and it was really weird. I know he's not used to wrestling these kind of weird American matches, but he could have made it something more suitable to him. But he just looked like he was standing around a lot for this match anyway, and just it was weird. It was weirdly paced, There's a weird pace. There was a weird kind of aura around this match that seemed like something was off. I'm not too sure what it was, but that was really the only spot where I really enjoyed during this match. I enjoyed the end with Homicide, and then I enjoyed which I think came across like it fell flat. It came across like who, because when you've got Punk and Daniel, I nearly sinned. When you've got Punk and Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole, when you've got them debuting, any debut after that is going to fall flat, right? So Homicide, I think, was a bit flat until the crowd really realised, and they were like, oh, Homicide, okay. and then they kind of gave it a cheer. I think it was almost like they cheered because they like AEW so much, and they were like, oh, yeah, and obviously from New York. So once the New York fans had realised they probably were generally going for Homicide. It was a cool moment for me, but I just don't know. It didn't come across well on TV anyway. But so you've got that moment, and you've got Eddie Kingston, and the end of the match was so funny as well. Eddie Kingston's great, and Eddie Kingston basically has a kendo stick, and at this point Lance Archer, he's got his head stuck in, when they do the spot where their head's in the trash can, and then Eddie Kingston starts pummeling the end of the trash can with the kendo stick, and it did look brutal until the camera went to an angle where you could see inside the trash can. I don't know why the camera did this, and I think the camera crew in AEW's improved so much since the beginning, but for some reason they had this weird shot where you could see the gimmick. You could see that Eddie Kingston wasn't really hitting Lance Archer over the head. With the other angle that they had, it looked great, but then for some reason they went to a camera shot where you could see inside the trash can, and you could see Lance Archer wasn't getting hurt. It was weird. I think they went off it pretty quickly. It wasn't like it was on there for ages, but I saw it and I noticed it. I put it in my notes. So, yeah, that was weird. But the overall I think Eddie made it seem fine, because he started smashing him over the head, and then the stick started breaking. Like the kendo bamboo started like peeling away or whatever. I don't know if it is bamboo, but you know what I mean. And then the kendo stick was pretty much useless by the end of it, but he wouldn't stop hitting him, and then he ends up throwing the stick in the air, which was, I would never have done that because I would be terrified of hurting someone in the crowd and getting some claims. But Eddie doesn't care. Eddie Kingston doesn't give a shit. He smashes him, and then that was the move that pinned him, because obviously the way it looked on TV until they did that camera shot was like, you're killing him. So anyway, that Eddie gets the 1, 2, 3, gets the big hometown pop, and it ends the show. Like I said, the show was not as good as Wednesday, nowhere near, but it was okay. It just didn't need to be 2 hours. It did not need to be 2 hours. I think Rampage needs to basically... They need to, obviously the 10 o'clock thing, especially in America, you guys complain about, what is it, 10 o'clock? Is that when Rampage starts? I'm not too sure. Here, in the UK, I have to stay up till 3 a.m. So you've got SmackDown that's at 1, and that finishes at 3, and it goes straight into Rampage, which is 3, and then today, I didn't get to bed until like 5 a.m. So, please, change the time of... I know that's the spot you've got, and I know I'm not being I'm hypothetically asking. At some point, I really want that time to change. It needs to be at the same time as Dynamite. Change the night to whenever. Honestly, it doesn't bother me too much. Why don't you put it against NXT? Why not? Put it on a Tuesday night. Rampage, or I guess or Saturday, or a Saturday night. I don't know what the ratings would do on a Saturday night. I don't think the AEW Dynamites have been too good. I don't know what night, basically. I'm not an expert in this. I don't know what night you would put it on, but please change it, and please change the timing, because, again, even the people in the US don't want to stay up that late. How do you think we feel in Europe? But anyway, that's just me speaking about my own sleeping needs. But that is the pacing of the show was weird. 2 hours wasn't necessary. Half these matches wasn't necessary. I think it was just, again, good, but too much went into it. It didn't need to be this long. But I get why. Obviously, they wanted to be a special 2-hour Rampage. You want the whole Grand Slam aura to be special, and you want Rampage to be special. I'm sure TNT ain't complaining that it was 2 hours, and I'm sure the ratings did well because you've got Punk on the show with Hobbs, so I'm sure it did fine, and I'm sure it will do fine with the ratings. Speaking of which, the AEW Grand Slam ratings came out, and I must admit, I was shocked. I thought it would be their biggest show ever. I called it, and I was very wrong. I thought it would. I saw the number, and it's a good number, don't get me wrong. I think if you look back in the last 4 or 5 weeks or something, it's over 1.2 million. And that's what it was this week. It was the Grand Slam show did 1.2 million, and I think I care more about the 18 to 49 demo personally, which they still didn't beat Raw in. They just lost to Raw in the demo, which I was really surprised. I thought because the face-off between Daniel Bryan, I've sinned again. Every time I sin and say Daniel Bryan, I may have to include a forfeit, because that can't be a thing that carries on. And I think, yeah, it's a good number. It is a good number, and TNT are going to be over the moon with the number. I just think that I didn't understand, and I don't know. Obviously, there's so many factors that can play into it, but I just didn't understand how the segment of Kenny Omega and Daniel Bryan teasing the match got higher rating than the actual match. And I'm not too sure if there was anything competing with AEW. There might probably, I didn't hear of anything competing with AEW, so I think that's just the rating that they pulled in. It was number 1 on cable. AEW are doing like so well, by the way. So anyone who thinks, oh, AEW, they didn't get their best ever rating, they failed with this Grand Slam thing. They failed, because that's how they sound. You're just idiots. You clearly don't know what you're talking about. You've just read things that you've seen online, and you're just saying stuff. You're just saying stuff for the sake of saying stuff, and you don't really know anything about the ratings. You don't know anything about demos, and you're just reading something. Oh, well, if this number didn't beat this number, then that means AEW are bad. And it's just I don't know, some of the people in the wrestling community are so stupid. It baffles me. But I understand when you've got an agenda and things like that. I can understand how that makes you think, and it can turn you into an idiot. And there are a lot of idiots in the wrestling community. But that's always going to be the case. So anyway, so overall the show was good. Not as good as AEW Dynamite Grand Slam, but it was still better than a lot of stuff that I see on WWE. And that's the issue. I want WWE to be good. I want them to step up their game. Will they? No. As we all know, they don't care. But we'll all still watch. We'll all still hope. And when they do something meaningful, who knows? I may start reviewing WWE shows. Who knows? If we ever live in a time where I am reviewing WWE shows, then my voice broke. Jesus Christ. But if we're ever in a position where I am reviewing WWE shows, then something glorious has happened. Either something really good have happened or something really bad has happened. AEW is no longer a thing, and WWE is all we have, or WWE has upped their game and they have now reached the levels of AEW's professional wrestling presentation. But that's just a dream. But anyway, guys, I will be back next week with AEW Dynamite on Thursday. So be sure to tune into that. If you enjoyed this, like and subscribe, and peace.